Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Forecast. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Thursday, October 22nd. Guys, we're getting through this week pretty well. I hope you guys have all had a good night. We had a big hit in jobless claims here this morning. First time in a long time that we're below 800,000. Hopefully that trend continues. Slightly worried that it just won't. We have so much going on in the world. More concerns with everything with the coronavirus. Hence this kind of awkward walking sideways, questionable markets, not really making any decision. If you like range-bound trading, it's set up really nicely for you. But if you struggle with that, this is that chop that people say you got to try to avoid if you can't trade it very well, which is what's happening. We've got a lot going on. FBI is investigating Biden's son and everything going on there. We've got coronavirus surging. We have another debate coming up. We have elections, and we have things just constantly happening. And now the markets are a little wary of everything. But hey, that's okay because earnings are coming in. Tesla continues to scream higher. 5 straight quarters of revenue, profitable revenue for Tesla. Pretty wild. Glad to see they're doing well. Those of you invested in them, I know we're all enjoying this one. Other than that, no real major news here today. We do have existing home sales coming on at 9 a.m. Central Time. And if you're a natural gas trader, you will have the natural gas number coming out at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Other than that, we got some earnings coming in. Oops, I clicked on the wrong link here. Let me adjust my stuff. Here we go. AT&T came in pretty flat on earnings, but beats on revenue. The Dow comes in, beats on both. Couple banks coming in today. All right, that looks to be about it when it comes to our earnings that are going to be coming out today. But definitely always want to be keeping an eye on those earnings. Very important to pay attention to that stuff. All right, good morning, Rob, Felix, Charles, MSS Capital Morning Traders caught a nice downside move. FBI conference. Yes, very last minute. Fanous, good morning. Billy Ray, good morning to you. Level 2, good morning. James, Tanya, Mike. Level 2 London Open was the place to be. Hey, if you're willing to get up that early and trade that by all means, I like to sleep in a little bit. You know, it's 5:36. Let me sleep in a little bit there. Vladislav, good morning. Brian, looking like it is. It's sure looking like another great day of trading. Jose, good morning. Steve, Jimmy, Tanya, better buy our chickens and build a greenhouse and garden. You know, Tanya, you're going to catch me off track here, but I have a dream of living slightly off grid. Well, I've always just wanted to have some chickens and little livestock, grow some vegetables, have a big piece of land while still living a normal civilized life. Charles, good morning. Subconscious and Doyle, good morning to all you guys. All right, let's go ahead, take a look at these markets, see what we got things shaping up here for us, and we'll go from there. As always, starting with the daily in crude. Crude oil, remember, weekly kickoff low has been blown through at this point and now back up through it again. 40.20 weekly kickoff low. Market has pushed through here, and now we are trying to accept back into that. So this market, for all intents and purposes, really, we could extend weekly kickoff low here. Essentially, when we talk about kind of trading a range, trading a channel, this channel, if you bring it, let's just say 39.70 up to, what are we calling this here? Approximately 41.60. If that's the range we were trading, we'd be doing pretty good. We'd be pretty profitable fading those extremes. We would have had one nice run, two Well, maybe we would have gotten into this one, at least taken some profits there. And once again, so we call that 3, rounding it up. Took a loss there. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we're looking for maybe 10. So when I talk about trading these extremes, within this, a lot of people are looking for that breakout move. We've seen 0 breakouts to the upside, and we have had maybe 1, 2 to the downside that have really broken out, but they recovered pretty darn quickly. If we were looking, if we were looking to trade the breakout every single time this market approached these extremes, which I know a lot of people are looking at that. If we were trying to trade that breakout, we would have taken 10 losses in this market trying to catch that move when we could have been taking 10 of those profitable trades and really only losing on 2, possibly 3. Those probabilities, everyone talks about wanting a big win percentage. Well, you're going to see higher win rates if we're fading these extremes when the market falls into channels like this versus when we're trying to look for those breakouts. Like I said, those breakouts tend to be less common, tend to be, the odds aren't in your favor to catch the breakout. Sometimes you will, and it feels really good. And we're just going to look at that and say, well, that was really nice. But beyond that, I just wanted to use this as a time to kind of point out why we look at these channels, why we look at these ranges. Speaking of channels and ranges, looking at it here today, we've got one kind of already setting up in crude oil. I'm going to look at pretty close to yesterday's value area high, which is right here at 40.45. I may even give it a little room lower, look more near that 40.40 level, kind of where we're trading right now. That may be where I'd bring this thing down just slightly. And I'd roll this thing over to a channel down here at 40.03 settlement price. I'm willing to trade within that range. That was set up if you were trading in the overnight session. It was set up so nicely for you to find opportunities, right? We start to approach value area high from yesterday. Great area of importance that we're looking at. As market approaches it, we've got an opportunity to look for cheap shorts, right? We're looking for cheap trades. We can put our stop. We're risking maybe 8, 9, 10 cents in this trade, which I think is a relatively cheap trade in crude oil, to get it to run 30 or 40 cents in our favor. When we catch that bounce right off, we can even cannonball it, as they say, down here off a settlement price, run it right back up. Same thing again, and here we go. Just because the market gave us a channel yesterday at the close. It said areas of importance to keep an eye on: 40.45 down to 40.03. Watch that range. Always willing to keep an eye on it, guys. Areas that we talk about every single day. Value areas, points of control, settlement prices. We talk about it constantly, and it constantly pays out for us. It creates opportunity. It told us yesterday, here's a channel to look at. Here's a range to keep an eye on in this overnight session. See how this market goes from here. And it's going to tell you where we may see some sort of breakout. Notice how value area high yesterday was also a multiple swing low. 1, 2, and I bet you we can go back and find some more swing lows right down here near this 40.50 mark. All right. Next, S&P 500. Guys, we're getting pretty darn close to that weekly kickoff low. Direction is lower. We're looking at multiple down days here. No surprise there. We're still not very far off of all-time highs. All-time highs up here right around 35.75, and we're 150 points away at the moment. We're not terribly far away. If we were to really pay attention to this long overall high time frame, we are still trending higher. We're still moving in that right direction. We're just struggling to get near those highs. We have elections coming. We've got a lot of concern around the world right now. We've got Supreme Court justice hearing. We have got elections. We've got FBI investigations into the presidential candidate's son. We've got a lot going on. People are just starting to sell off a little bit. Be a little bit more cautious. Let's wait and see all these big changes that are coming, because there are big changes that could be coming in the next couple weeks. And that's just kind of what we got going on here. So 3,400 weekly kickoff low. Going to be an interesting area to see if this thing pushes back down here. Now, if it doesn't, what do we got going on? First off, we got settlement price up here, 34.32 half. Guys, our 34.30 level continues to come into play. Market found kind of some resistance trying to get up there. And it didn't make it to 30. We can even bring this thing down closer to 28. Remember, when we talk about levels, they're not finite. It's not defined at that specific number, and everything has to be that number. They're areas. We give ourselves room. Yesterday, I took a short up at 55 because I started to push through that 50 level, and I said, I still really like this area. And I got that short at 55. Again, we're just looking at areas. So you can give yourself a little bit of room. Market really has seen rejection every time it's come near this area around 30. Sold off a few times. Big sell-off last night, rallied higher. So the question is, if we can get back within our range here, if we can accept back into this 30 to 50 range, great. That's what I'll be paying attention to. If we can get above settlement price, that'll be awesome. If we can't, then we see this thing start to rotate over. If we see it start to rotate over, first place I have is I've actually got a couple things looking back over the last couple weeks down here at 34.11. It'll be first checkpoint to the downside. Now below that for sure. Guys, 3,400. Weekly kickoff low. Big fat round number. Going to keep an eye on it because, well, it's 3,400. And if for some reason this thing really just decides to go today, guys, we're 50 points away from our 3380 level. We have talked about 3380 a million times over in a couple weeks back. Business may not be done down there if this thing decides to go lower. For now, I'm going to be really hesitant and patient to see if I can accept through 30. If I cannot, then we're going to start to possibly look to fade that 30 and run this thing a little bit lower. So those are just a couple things I'll be keeping an eye on here today in the S&P 500. I'm going to be a little cautious here today. Market state's changed a little bit, and I'm going to be hesitant. Not going to jump in just because I'm approaching 30, long or short. Not going to jump in. I am going to be waiting to see how this market reacts. This open could change things, right? Jobless claims was great. Well better than expected. We could see that boost once this thing opens that says, all right, let's get this thing back up above. And then I'll look for that opportunity, but I'm not going to jump in on the first test above that 30 level. Okay, now let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ has kind of flatlined here the last few days. Last night we saw the sell-off in S&Ps. We have not seen that yet in the NASDAQ. So when we look at the NASDAQ, we're in a nice little channel. Settlement price, 11,695. So when we look at the last few days, we want to start to pay attention to a couple things. We're seeing great opportunity every time this market's kind of come down here a little bit above 600, right? Or we can even say 600 itself to the tick. 11,600. Market has bounced multiple times. Every time it's checked 600, it has bounced and paid out relatively nicely. And when I say nicely, I mean like at least 100 points. And that's pretty awesome. So, what can we expect here? Right now, if I see this market start to work lower, I am looking for opportunity at 600. No question in my mind. No question in my mind. This 600 level is going to create opportunity. It's going to be support, resistance. Going to have to watch that order flow. Pay attention, see how that market's reacting when it gets down there. To the upside. Now, if we start to go higher, yes, we got a breakthrough settlement price here. Just like the S&Ps, we're kind of struggling to find some sort of buyer wanting to overpower this. And we're really, at this point, we're not seeing any sellers really wanting to overpower this. So we're just kind of stuck in a very little tight pattern. Let's see how this market opens up. If we make that attempt higher, guys, we're looking right up here at this 740. So just like we did yesterday in the S&Ps, we kind of got an idea of a little bit of a range that this market, we can look for opportunities to kind of fade at the extremes. Again, levels are not finite. We're looking at areas. So if this market does get through settlement price, I'll be looking for opportunity kind of between yesterday's value area high of 27 here up to 740. So 727 up to 740. That's where I'm going to start to pay attention to things. I'm not going to kind of hop in here in the center because range bound trade stuck in the center does not feel comfortable for me. If you guys find an opportunity right now, by all means. But you guys know me. I love looking for opportunities at settlement price, but I'm really stuck in the middle here. My risk is too great on either side to go long or short. So I'm going to sit back and just be a little bit patient here today on this level, or these equity markets. I got to see them open up. I got to see what's going to happen. Next, let's go ahead and look at gold. Gold's selling off, taking the tumble, but I'd say we're sticking well within our little channel that we've been looking at, you guys. I'm still very comfortable with our trending direction higher. Now we're on the low side of that channel. Do we break below this thing? Do we go make a new low below 96? It's going to be the question. That's where I'm wondering right now. All right, so gold. Looking at the 30-minute here. What do we got going on? Well, market sold off pretty strong as soon as it opened up here this morning. Remember, gold opens up at 720. Market's broke, and we beelined down to 03. Didn't make it to that 1900, which is where I kind of thought this thing was going to go. That's where I was paying attention. We're starting to really make some looking for anything to happen here, this market. Really unchanged, floating around this 07. So, what are we doing? What is our thought process? When we look a little bit closer, remember, higher time frame, we are trending higher, right? Lower time frame, we're looking at the last 12 hours. We are trending lower. This is where you as a trader are going to have to try and kind of define what's actually happening. Now me, I am going to try and to find a way to understand if this market is comfortably just checking a low side of a channel and we're still going to maintain some trend to the upside, or is this market breaking and going to continue to the downside? So like I've told you guys, I'm always trying my hardest to kind of define channel. I'm always trying to define some sort of channel that this market can trade in. That's what I'm looking for. That's how I frame out my trading each and every day. This is where I'm starting to question. I'm starting to look for opportunity. Am I going to look for this continuation to the downside on the short-term trend, or am I going to allow this larger time frame to say, no, this has just been a constant check low. This market has come and checked it multiple times. We're usually looking for 3 points of confirmation. 1, 2, and 3. This is check 4. This is where we're looking to see, hey, am I going to find this market rally to the upside? Risk is a little bit cheaper to take the long versus the short. Is that what I'm going to look for? Or am I going to say, you know what? I think this continuation to the downside. We had good jobless numbers. I'm feeling optimistic about this market. This is a sell-off because people are staying positive about S&P or about the economy right now. This is a decision you're going to have to make as a trader. We're in a good location. Next, let's go ahead and look at currencies and get the heck on out of here. Euro starts to look lower. Maybe we get down to weekly kickoff high of 117.80. I guess time will tell when we look a little bit closer here. What do we got going on? Similar to gold, right? We are maintaining a higher time frame trend up to the upside, but we are starting to trend lower. The one thing I'm going to focus on here, what has this market done every day as soon as U.S. session opens? It goes from directional to range bound. That's going to be my mentality here today. I'm going to focus on direction to range bound. So, settlement price, 118.75. I am looking. So, I got 35, pivotal level. 35 is going to be pivotal. If we break lower, we may see this thing may gain momentum to the downside. And I'm not saying too far. I'm going to look to 25 and then to 1800 or 118 even. If we rotate higher. Well, I'm looking right here at 55, 118.55. That's going to be the area. I'm watching 35 to 55 right now. That's what I'm going to be watching. That's what I'm going to pay attention to look for some opportunities and see what this market really wants to do. Next, let's go ahead and look at the yen, which is relatively flat here this morning. Pretty tight channel for us after yesterday's big up day. Are we going to have a little hangover today? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Channel's defined, though. Channel is defined. I mean, we cannot argue this. Whoops. Low side. High side channel. We could even look to yesterday's levels here and say checkpoint 1. Checkpoint alpha, as we call it in the military. Checkpoint alpha. First checkpoint we break through here. We're running the settlement price up here at 95.71. But again, this is kind of where I'm paying attention to, right at yesterday's point of control. This is kind of a channel. Fell into it really nicely, and that's what we've been noticing with this market. Other than this big, ridiculous upside momentum move, falling into these channels is what we've been paying attention to. So that's what I'm going to keep an eye on here today. Watch this channel. High side here, 75. Low side, 55. And that checkpoint alpha, as we were just saying, was right about where we're trading right now, 95.67. So just a couple things to keep our eyes on here today. As always, everybody, thank you for tuning in with me. I believe John is hoping to be back tomorrow. So it's been really fun the last couple weeks hopping in here during the market forecast. I'll continue to see you guys on the recap. Speaking of recap, there won't be a recap today. I have too much going on. I am unfortunately unable to get to the recap. I just want to say hello to everyone else that showed up here. Charles, Subconscious, Doyle, Vladislav, hope John will be with you tomorrow. Yeah, like I just said, John should be back tomorrow, hopefully. I'll be talking to him this afternoon. Oh, yeah, you heard it on the podcast. You've got 80% off grid. In the city, 9 chickens, garden, greenhouse. Go, good for you. You, good to see you. Oh, down in Albuquerque. That is pretty awesome, Tanya. I'm a big fan of the show, Homestead Rescue. Christopher Todman, good morning. Charles, my top level of resistance, 34.30 to 32, 34.30. That has been the pivotal location we've been paying attention to the last couple weeks. Paid out really nicely. But I like that idea. Take the day off, watch Netflix. It's gloomy, rainy. It's kind of one of those days that I wish I could do that too. You're welcome, Vast. James, Tanya, no way. It's been a lot. Oh, nice, guys. Awesome. All right, everybody. 5 minutes equity open. My coffee's getting low. I'm going to go refill this. I hope you guys all have a great day. And if John's back tomorrow, I won't see you guys until Monday. So have a great weekend. Stay safe, trade well, wash your hands. I look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Take